can see here, even without it connected to anything, it's just moving sporadically. So my guess is that actuator is dead.
Hey, what's up? Today I'm going to be removing the mode actuator from my 2005 Subaru Legacy GT Limited. That car's got an automatic climate control, and it has a little push button that you use to switch between air modes. So this is between whether air blows out the floor, the vent, or the defrost. So doesn't seem like it's a particularly uncommon problem from the forums. Mine kind of sounded like a coffee percolator behind the dash, this little and then finally it stopped really switching completely between modes when you would switch it, when you would hit the button. So this is going to involve removing a little bit of the console, so it kind of gives you a good step towards removing the radio if you end up having to do that. Plus there are two other actuator motors, one for the passenger blend door, which mixes warm and cool air together, and then another blend door, which I think just kind of blends to the floor, but you'll see it in the video. This video gives you good access into all three of those. It does not give you a breakdown of how to get to the driver side actuator, so if you're looking for that, you may as well stop now. But for those other three and anything else underneath the right side of the dash, this will be a good video for you, such as like getting a head start on getting to the blower motor, things like that. So here it is. Okay, one of the first things we're going to do is just loosen up the console here. We don't have to remove it, just need to make it loose to help things out later on. Oops. So open up this, there are two 10mm bolts down in there. Either use a screwdriver, or I'm going to just use my little socket here to take those out. Okay, the next step is to start removing the trim around the shift lever and so on. So with the battery disconnected, what I need to do is I can put my little screwdriver in here for the shift release. And try to set the camera on my little where I can kind of do this. Press down on the release, and I can move that into the middle. Next, you can see that I've already put some blue tape down to hold that, or basically to protect the finish. And I'm going to use my little trim tool to pop up the trim here. Some people use screwdrivers. I like the trim tool because I can just nice and ease it up on both sides. It can slide in underneath that trim piece really easily. I'm not trying to force it, just easing it up gently all the way around so I don't break it. Great. So that guy's out. The next is to get this piece out. This is also just pressure fit in, or by little clips and such. So what I'm going to do, a little piece here, and again using my little trim tool, and kind of reach underneath there, pop it up there, put my tape down again, protect it, and pop it up like that. And then it all slides out. There's a wire connector in the back here for the lighter and the little ashtray light, and we'll disconnect that and set it to the side. Okay, next I'm going to remove this trim piece. Got to remove a screw here, just a Phillips head. Okay, with that Phillips head out, there are a couple of clips in behind here, but if I just gently kind of work this guy loose a little bit, he lets go pretty easily. Okay. Because we're going to have to remove this panel here, we're going to remove this screw right up here and another screw below. Okay, we've got those screws released.
There are some clips underneath here that we'll have to kind of disengage. That's kind of weird. And there's actually one more screw down in here we got to get out. Okay, got that screw loose now, and we'll come back to this side piece in a minute. Next step is to remove the glove box. So we're going to open that up. There's a little sleeve in here for the manual. We're going to pull that guy out. On the back. Next, I'm going to pull this side panel off. Again, using my little trim tool. Just gonna hit it. It's pretty cooperative here. Again, no need to really force this, just take my time. Okay, glove box has this little retainer cord. Just gonna lift up on the box a little, unlatch it. It rewinds in a little bit by itself, but it does stay out okay. Alright. Next I'm gonna set the little side guys here. If you need to, you can actually pop these guys out. But that opens up, and that's gonna give me some space to start working, getting some screws out. And this guy is actually held in. You can see that plastic screw there. Get him out, and then I'll be able to take the glove box out. But I'm going to use two hands for that. A little note on this side screw. It's a little plastic screw that goes into a little sleeve and expands out. So just be careful with this guy. Just gently, take your time. It is a very fine thread, so it will back out on its own. And then you can just pull the sleeve out as well. Okay, with the side screw out, you should be able to take the box out. No problem. Next, I'm going to take this lower trim piece off. It's just 3 little trim plugs. Again, I'll just use my little trim tool for this. Let's see if I can. One, two. Three. And this guy will come out, unhook him. He's a little bit hooked on that, so just take him out there, and that's out. Okay. Next step, it's kind of a doozy. It's to get this piece out, and it's a little tricky. It's 2 screws here, but then there are a series of clips behind here that can be a bit tricky to get out, but just be patient and work your way through them. Okay, with the partially disengaging a little better, see what I'm talking about there with that under clip and then that center clip there. Now you do have to pop these guys up and free, there and there, and now all it's held by are a couple of clips between these 2 pieces, and I'm just going to use my trim tool to separate that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide in this way and kind of twist it to just separate them. Alright, I've got that guy out, and you can kind of see what the shape of those clips were. And I did just put my little trim tool in, and a little trim tool like that, and put it in here, and then just did a motion like that, and it just disengaged. So you've got 1, 2, 3 that you're getting rid of. So with that out, you can now see there is another screw down here that we're going to need to take out. Quick Phillips head right there. And we need to take this little guy too, another one of these plastic screws inside of a sleeve. So this can kind of give you a little bit of a view of what one of these clips looks like. And I'm able to actually, it's right here, and I was able to actually reach this guy from right inside here and able to just push down on the top and get it to release, because it's tough to see, but you can see a little bit that the release knob is right on the top. I was able to do that from the side there. I was able to reach in here and disengage one as well. And there is one more, I believe, right in the middle that I'll have to try to get popped out. Okay, I am spending a little extra time on this just because I want to show you, because this is really about the hardest part of the whole thing. So this was the clip I was able to reach from the right. This is the clip I was able to reach from the left. There were two remain in the middle. I was able to basically just pull on this forcefully, but not jerking or bending it a lot, and it did just release. This is about the hardest part of the whole thing. So that's out. I'm gonna disconnect the wire harness from the back here and disconnect this guy too. And just wiring harness right back here. That guy's free. And this guy, it's really that this whole plastic thing connects onto the back of the box. So I'm going to use two hands here. And for that bigger clip, you can see this is looking at the underside of it. There are two little clip release points and a center one. So that's how you get it free. All right, with that last backing piece out, I've got access to all the actuator motors basically, or at least the brackets for them. So this is the, I think this is, what is it? This is the blend door actuator, I believe. Or this might be the blend door actuator, I can't remember. I'll notate it in as I'm reading through this, but top here, this is the mode actuator. So this is what switches between floor, vent, defrost, all that type of stuff. So there is a, get a little better light in here. You can see the green wiring harness on the top. That's really not too difficult to unclip by hand here. And all we're going to do is, you can see, we're going to remove this screw on the left, and then we're not going to remove the whole bracket, we're going to remove the actuator from the bracket. We're going to remove these three screws here. And in doing that, we'll take the whole actuator motor and this white plastic piece, this kind of like half moon piece that's there. We're going to take all of that out at once, because to try to get, there's a screw for the bracket that's hidden way up top that's a huge pain to get to. So we're not even going to try to mess with that.
I'm going to pause here for just a second to point out something kind of important when you install the new actuator. If you notice coming down from the top there are two white levers, make sure to get the pins on those interfaced with the crescent moon of the new actuator. That's how the actuator gets those different baffles to move. So just make sure to do that. You'd hate to get everything in there and not have those interfaced and things not to work.
Okay. This is the mode door actuator, and what I ended up doing was I took both the upper actuator and the lower actuator out, both by just removing, not the full brackets as you can see, but by removing the motors from the brackets, removing the little screws. That way I took this guy out, and then I dropped this one down into its place basically by bringing it from here down into here. And then once I could do that, I was able to bring it up and out the side. I think it'll kind of make sense when you're doing it. So, okay, and that's the new actuator in up top. So if you notice, I did actually take the lower bracket off to get the new one in. It was just going to get a little too tight, and I was just worried. I wasn't as worried about breaking anything, taking the old one out, but putting the new one in, I just couldn't quite get a good angle to fit it in. Plus, taking the bracket out, the lower bracket out, once the lower actuator has been removed, is a million times easier, because you can see this back screw a million times better with the actuator out. So the installation's pretty much the reverse, and that's all there is to it. Thanks.
So I took the top actuator apart because I was interested just to see what might be going on. And unfortunately, like, all the clips went on it too. So anyway, the way it appears to work is you've got the motor and some mechanical advantage stuff going on here. Then you've got the main drive gear that runs the actuator arm. This is the axle for that. So, and on the back side of the gear are what looks to be some conductive material. And you can kind of see, you know, some grooves in here on this side. And what I'm guessing is matching up with, then you've got a series of contacts here coming from the pins from the harness. So what happens, what it's looking like is that you can see in a couple of these spots, the contact, what appears like to be the contact material on the pulley is starting to wear through. So my guess is it doesn't get the same consistent contact, and that's why you get that shuddering in the motor, because it's worn all the way down through. I mean, this should be solid, like over here, and you can see that there are worn grooves through here. So that's what happens, I'm guessing, is over time you just wear through and you get these kind of stopping points where the gear is traveling along, all of a sudden it gets to this bare area and the contacts just don't match up, and it kind of squiggles around a little. Maybe it'll kind of work its way into a good spot, then proceed and then stall out again. So guessing that's the root of the problem with that actuator.
So that was the video. Hope you found it valuable. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, ideas on how to do anything differently, please drop them in the comments below, and hope to see you in the next video. And if you want to see other videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. Thanks.